wax yar baa weerarigno waxa haray waxarihi wanaag baan ku wadacay warkuna waa kooban yahay wadaynimo ka marabo wadankana iskale aan kala weydaaranne waraabo maalin wacan wowgii kale waxaan lahaa wuxuu yiri waa tahay walaalkayga yar iyo sidaad wiilkayga tahan waqay kuwaaniya adna waa
Sunday morning commissioned photographer Daniel Jones to take these pictures.
One of the most dramatic events in New York City in the 1960s was the construction of the World Trade Center. Sheer symmetrical walls rising without setbacks. For outstanding engineering achievement of 1971.
Splendid September day. The afternoon temperature about 80 degrees. Great weather for the primary election. Tonight clear and cool, low 60 at midtown.
It's begun to sound like...
Совершили 2 экспедиции на орбитальной станции «Салют». Успешно выполнили нашу первую в истории человечества.
His chance came on May 14th, 1964. On board, Sobey organized the first meeting to mark the beginning of work on the Aswan Dam, financed by the USSR. President Nasser organized an official cruise and invited Soviet Supremo Khrushchev and President Arif.
About Soviet intentions should never be minimized.
For Saddam Hussein, the road was now clear. The Cold War was raging, and the Middle East at that time was one of the fronts. July 17th, 1968. The streets of Baghdad were the stage for another Ba'athist coup d'etat, the decisive event that would propel Saddam Hussein to power.
In 1964, I met Saddam, and that was first time. He called himself Muhammad.
Sobey Abdel Hamid is one of the officers who removed Saddam and the Ba'athists from power.
in Iraq. He actually showed his true color. He showed his brutality to the Americans. The Americans said, "This is our man."
5 days later, he waged brutal and spectacular purges against 19 supposed conspirators within the Ba'ath Party.
His political opponents, and indeed with his own family.
And growingly gruesome.
He was so busy with his uncle and with other gangsters forming the hardcore, the execution squad.
The United States could not allow Iraq to become another Soviet satellite.
Saddam wanted to drag Iraq into the 20th century, probably by its hair, screaming. Iraq did not fall under the two identifications they understand. It wasn't a friend. Iraq was not a friend. There was no trust. And it wasn't an enemy. It wasn't a foe.
In this Kurdish village, the Iranians claimed that Saddam Hussein's army gassed 5,000 civilians.
wuxuu yidhi waa tahay ma wiil iyo waalidkiba ayaan kala weecan kara axdigu waa weyn yahay ma labadii wacad dhigto wallaahi isugu maraa isweydaartada xumaan wadaygay baa tahay aan waayo iswehelinne wan yahow haygoyn wadnaha woogii kale waxaan lahaa
bezieht Berlin seinen besonderen Reiz.
wuxuu yidhi waa tahay waluuxaa iyo waleyl wasaafaad iyo wabuur wanajmi idaa hawaa waleyli haddaad taqaan wadaad baad ii tahay waddada loo mara sirtiyo wardeena anaa haye ee kacan weli maysane wadaayay baa tahay aan waayo iswehelinne wan yahow haygoyn wadnaha woogii kale waxaan lahaa wuxuu yidhi waa wareey waddani baan ahay anigu mareerkan waardiyiyo wadeeca allooy lahaa wax dhan weerka u xirto aan kaa waabinahayaan wadaagaynaa waryaa wareer weyn baad wadaa wanaag baan ku wadacay warkuna waa kooban yahay wadaynimaka ma rabo waddankaana iskale aan kala weydaaranne waraabo maalin wacan woogii kale waxaan lahaa wuxuu yidhi waa tahay wiilnimadaydii horiyo haddoon waa yeel ku dhacay waxtar hadalkiisa daaweylihii baad laaysato wax yar baa wiririglo waxaa haray waxarihii wanaag baan ku wadacay warkuna waa kooban yahay wadaynimaka ma rabo waddankaana iskale aan kala weydaaranne waraabo maalin wacan
and there is no any guarantee we will win the war. And then he started talking to me. He said, look, prepare yourself in the United Nations. We will resume the war.
Saddam attacked on September 22nd, 1980. He naturally claimed that he was not at war with Iran to serve American interests. In 1987, one tragic event confirmed that Ronald Reagan was prepared to forgive Saddam Hussein almost everything.
The leading ship in the Persian Gulf being hauled by an Exocet missile fired by an Iraqi pilot.
And it killed 37 of the crewmen.
It's an accident, and accidents happen in war.
لتعطي للإمبريالية الأمريكية أغطية إضافية ولم تستطع العهود المندثرة أن تستخدم الجيش العراقي في منهجها السياسي لخدمة الأجنبي رغم المحاولات التي بذلت في هذا الصدد.
Washington, too, has always denied having pushed Saddam into war with Iran. The war had already claimed hundreds of thousands of victims and now threatened the flow of oil in the Gulf. The American Navy was on general alert. Armed to the teeth, Saddam Hussein had become a threat. Saddam Hussein willingly exploited both facets of his image. Surrounded by his bodyguards, he created set pieces for the complacent eye of official cameras, while maintaining his regime of terror. He presented the image of a believer, but eliminated the religious leaders who criticized him.
The basic scenario of a threat to American interests by saying there's no longer a serious threat from the Soviet Union, and he introduced the scenario of an Iraqi attack on Kuwait.
Saddam Hussein summoned the American ambassador.
Saddam had that famous interview with April Glaspie. He laid it all out. He said, I can't go on like this. I have to have money. I have to renegotiate my debts. You've got to get the Kuwaitis to stop playing with the oil.
The two sides were talking, but who was kidding who? Saddam, who claimed he had no intention of invading Kuwait, or Glaspie, who said the United States would not get involved? Joseph Wilson is the last American diplomat to have met Saddam.
When I came to the room, Saddam was standing in the middle of the room, staring at me, unblinking, eye to eye. As I like to say, it was who was going to blink first contest. The time came to shake hands, and he put his hand out, And I stared at him and just took his hand without looking down.
And there's a bunch of visits that go on and contacts. There's the now famous meeting where Secretary Rumsfeld, and we begin the offers of assistance, of cooperation. Certainly they get loans to buy food, but the Iraqis are never easy to deal with.
Richard Murphy merely smiled.
But then the unexpected happened.
We have the USS to stop.
Robert Baer, who lives today in Colorado, took part in one of these missions.
Between September 1994 and March 1995, we had a series of CIA teams. I was head of one of them, to go in and actually see if we could do a coup d'etat. I mean, when we went in, we walked across the border. We were under the protection of a Kurdish militia. We got in touch with military officers in January 1995, who said, yes, we can do a coup d'etat.
America overcame Saddam Hussein. The tyrant is dethroned. Iraq celebrates and the world is freed from evil.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got it.
9 months after the World Trade Center attacks, the site had been cleared, except for one nearly 60-ton beam, by then covered with the names and photos and jottings of the people who had done the clearing. And just as it had, each time human remains were found. There are ghostly nods to the Twin Towers, but what's new here at what used to be called Ground Zero has been built to be beautiful. The Oculus is a train station and a shopping mall.
When I came in here the first time, it was almost heavenly in a way.
15 years after 9/11, the World Trade Center is still a work in progress.
Engineering considerations determine the tower's basic design. Sheer symmetrical walls rising without setbacks.
The World Trade Center appears to be on fire.
Mr. Saddam Hussein stayed with me for about
wanaag baan ku wadacay warkuna waa kooban yahay wadaynimaka ma rabo wadankaana iskale aan kala weydaaranne waraabo maalin wuxuu yiri waa tahay sidaas kulama waramin walaalow baan wadaa warshada aan ku furiyo wadaan soo jeexayaa i weydii waxaad rabtee wadaygay baa tahay aan waaye iswehelinne wanyahow haygoyn wadaagoogii kale waxaan lahaa wuxuu yiri waa tahay والضحى والليل والصافات وطور والنجم إذا هوى والعصر ويل تضبا تبنك والوالتر يا الله وطين قرطان عصري إلهي واحدا حقيقا ورشو وناك بانكو ودعي وركونا وكوبا يهي وذين مكا مربو ودن كان إسكالي أنت لو إذا رنه ورابو مالي وعن